Governor Pritzker wished us all a Merry Christmas here in Illinois last week when he signed into law the assisted suicide legislation. It's expected to bring down the population of homeless and poor people here in Illinois. Plus, it's going to benefit the insurance companies. In the tragic murder of Rob and Michelle Reiner this week, due to HIPAA laws, it was initially reported that two dead bodies were found dead in the home of Rob and Michelle Reiner. There is a lot of effort and respect to protect the dead and the dying. But what about the living? You're not dead until you're dead in your own home. That's only if someone knows about it and tells us about it, who doesn't care about the HIPAA laws. I don't know what kind of gift you're hoping for this Christmas, but I hope you live in a state where death isn't on the list. Welcome. Welcome to Coffee Hour. I'm Stanley Smith. At Coffee Hour, we talk about everything and nothing. Recently, we talked about the K economy, moving to Nashville, living until I become incapacitated, justice and mercy, flying southwest, and how things are really, really different than they were in the past. The readings at Washington National Cathedral were from Isaiah. The light makes the sadness flee away. And from James, as the farmer awaits the rain, we await the after Christmas clearance sale at Macy's. We can always depend on it. The gospel reading was from Matthew. What we see is what we get. The sermon at Washington National Cathedral was by Jan Cope. Jan said, "We want to exact privileged class from the darkness so we can get priority seating on Southwest, seeing despair and hopelessness to get our share of mercy from God." It really doesn't work that way. We can engineer an artificial intelligence of reality and drive God out of the picture. We want the assurance of things yet to come right now. Like the farmer waiting for the rain, he's not so sure. He wants it to happen sooner than later. Dusting away the sadness of a bad situation, the underlying issue probably remains. Postmodernism reminds us of this over and over again. The underlying problem. God isn't going to fix it. Popular culture rejects the idea that God himself is the answer. It's easy to be the everything's terrible person. Maybe everything is terrible. It's in the darkness that Christ most often shows up. Anne quoted Anne Lamott and described her as a drug user and addict. Most of us know her as a spiritual leader. It's not that surprising. Sometimes the people who have experienced the darkest of times see the light and then spend a lifetime wanting to tell others about it. We can't escape it. We need to give into it. Say, "I quit." Come, let the light in. Let it encourage and transform us. At St. James Cathedral, the sermon is by Lisa Hackney James. Lisa said Advent is an opportunity to see more light coming into the world or more darkness, depending on your worldview. I held my breath when Lisa started to share how she sees the world. Most of us see the world as a litany of everything wrong. Lisa said she sees the world as a place where the hungry are fed, the oppressed are freed, and the lowly are lifted up. Living in the love of enduring faith, somewhere between wearing the rough clothes of labor and the soft robes of privilege. We are all called and we all assume it's somehow been a terrible mistake. I'm not prepared. It's not a good time for me, or I have other things I really should be doing. We're all somewhere in our own Babylonian exile story, hearing the warnings of our pre-exile, in exile, or living after the return, living in the apprehension of what's coming, in the reality of what we don't want, and then in the disappointment of getting it. That's the landscape of our psychological journey, holding on to who we are and who we're no longer that same person, holding on to the desert landscape when we're supposed to be in an environment where we can thrive. Is our heart soaked with the cares and vicissitudes of the world, or in the hope of God in it? We wait for the revelation. God comes to us day by day, in the exile, in the return, and we don't have to go there. We just need to let him in. In the race to dominate the world with artificial intelligence, we wonder how we're going to fare competing with it for resources. A conversation with a corporate recruiter at a recent holiday party said people either work for money or for passion. It's seldom both. We've been hearing in literature and social science since the 1930s that eventually artists will rule the world. Anyone who creates original content. Farmers, too, and the natural world itself can be seen as producing original content. Currently, iron, copper, and tin are skyrocketing in value. Savvy investors might consider putting money into tin. That's why it was so disappointing when Governor Pritzker signed the assisted suicide bill last week. Can't we even value life itself, even as a commodity? At the members' appreciation party at the East Bank Club last week, a conversation with a Southwest Airlines pilot, a young guy. He said new seating policies are going into effect because in the past we could count on people doing the right thing, but we can no longer count on that. Everyone wants a special concession. Everyone wants to be able to bring on the excess baggage that they're not supposed to have in the first place by getting priority seating so they can get those bags into the overhead bins. It's a sad affair. Can't we just leave our crap behind or just reinstate free baggage check? Of course, baggage was restricted so airlines could carry more freight for additional revenue. During the pandemic, the airlines were kept flying. Many had federal contracts to carry the US mail. If you follow modern conspiracy theories, they're all saying we're going down the tubes and we're going to be controlled by artificial intelligence. Most of what people do for money will be eliminated. We probably should have invested in the tin and followed our passions instead of trying to scam the airlines for our extra carry-on. At coffee hour, we're trying to hold on to the good, live our life until we become incapacitated or until someone else decides that for us. The world isn't going to care either way, but none of us care all that much about the world. We're more concerned with life itself. If you would like to join us at coffee hour, I will include my email in the description of this video. Be happy to send you an invitation. And I look forward to seeing you very, very soon.